Hey, how you doing? This is Adam Post, publisher of more than 1,000 comic books and marketing expert covering Blackrock being sued for misleading investors over ESG, Harvard panics, and hides pronouns. Let's get into the story. Before we do, please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications. Give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate you guys. From the Epoch Times, Tennessee sues Blackrock, demands transparency about alleged climate activism. We want Blackrock to let investors know how their money is going to be managed, Tennessee State Attorney General Jonathan Skrmetti stated. And from Twitchy, poof, Harvard has disappeared their pronouns page. Harvard is making aggressive changes to its Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Office webpage. We know this because this is where it's at now, and this is what it used to be. Gender identity and pronouns at Harvard and going on and on about gender identity. We will go over it. The lawsuit with Tennessee could be very important because BlackRock has been misleading its investors. It has been misleading the people whose money they manage. When you turn your money over to a money manager, you're doing that to get the best possible financial return for pensions, for your future. But the BlackRock people seem to have been using it for political ideology and for political advantage. For the first time, and in what may prove to be a precedent-setting case, a global asset manager is being sued for allegedly leveraging investors' money to pursue political goals. Tennessee Attorney General Jonathan Skrmetti filed a lawsuit against BlackRock, the world's largest fund manager with approximately $9 trillion in assets under management. That's $9 trillion of money that they are investing on behalf of other people. It's not their personal money. It belongs to workers. The Tennessee Attorney General is charging that the firm has been on the forefront of using aggressive strategies to push controversial environmental, social, and governance goals across the assets it manages. And that's absolutely true. It's beyond dispute. Quote, "We want BlackRock to let investors know how their money is going to be managed," Mr. Skrmetti told the Epoch Times. "BlackRock must inform investors," he said, "if their money is going to be managed in a way that furthers ideological ends." If BlackRock wants to offer ESG investment funds, he said, they're allowed to market those products. They're allowed to let people buy those products. People can invest in purposeful funds that seek to accomplish something other than just making the money. But there has to be transparency about that. The lawsuit charges that BlackRock leverages its power over corporations whose shares it owns to pressure management to pursue goals such as achieving net zero carbon emissions and aligning its policies with the 2015 Paris Climate Accords. It also alleges that BlackRock has misled investors, claiming that they can earn higher returns through ESG investing, which is absolutely proven to not be true, especially recently. Quote, "BlackRock has admitted that promoting ESG aims, like companies radically reducing their carbon output, can conflict with its fund's financial performance," the lawsuit states. "It is thus only fair that consumers know if the hard-earned funds they invest will be leveraged to BlackRock's ESG ends rather than to maximizing financial returns." And that is by definition an inherent contradiction. If you're going to try to reduce carbon to zero, you're not targeting making the most money back for your investment. In response to the suit, BlackRock stated, "We reject the Attorney General's claims and will vigorously contest any accusations that BlackRock violated Tennessee's consumer protection laws." In my opinion, they did violate those laws, and they are going to get in some trouble for it. Quote, "Contrary to the Attorney General's claims, BlackRock fully and accurately discloses our investment practices and our approach to proxy voting," Chris Van Ees, BlackRock Communications Director, stated in an email to the Epoch Times. "On behalf of our clients, BlackRock has invested approximately $40 billion in Tennessee, and we're helping more than 600,000 hard-working Tennesseans retire with dignity." Until recently, BlackRock had been an outspoken advocate of ESG investing, which also goes under the euphemisms of sustainable investing, stakeholder capitalism, and conscientious capitalism. This has included an annual letter to investors and corporate executives in which BlackRock CEO Larry Fink stated that as a shareholder, the company would be increasing the role of votes on shareholder proposals in our stewardship efforts around sustainability, and that in the second half of 2020, we supported 54% of all environmental and social proposals, having assessed that they were aligned with long-term value. BlackRock at this time asked companies whose shares it owned to disclose a business plan aligned with the goal of limiting global warming to well below 2 degrees Celsius, consistent with achieving net zero global greenhouse gas emissions by 2050. What we expect the issuers, that means the companies, we invest in on our clients' behalf to be adequately managing the global transition towards a net zero economy, Mr. Fink stated. Where we do not see progress in this area, and in particular where we see a lack of alignment combined with a lack of engagement, we will not only use our vote against management for our index portfolio held shares, we will also flag these holdings for potential exit in our discretionary active portfolios. That's to say, they will get rid of the shares of companies and sell off the shares of companies that don't do exactly what they tell those companies to do. If they sell those shares, the value of the shares tends to go down because if less people hold shares, like anything else, if there's extra supply, there's less demand, the price goes down. At a now infamous 2017 New York Times conference, Mr. Fink stated regarding social justice issues that, quote, "You have to force behaviors, and at BlackRock, we are forcing behaviors." Mr. Fink has taken a different approach this year, stating in June that he would no longer use the term ESG. Quote, "I'm not going to use the word ESG because it's been misused by the far left and the far right," Mr. Fink stated, adding that he was ashamed of being part of this conversation. BlackRock has been accused by its critics of attempting to serve two masters by pushing a progressive agenda while attempting to achieve favorable returns for investors. Quote, "They cannot both be strictly and rigorously pursuing the fiduciary interests of shareholders while at the same time trying to reinvent the global economy," Mr. Skrmetti said. "And I'm sure they're going to be explaining how it's necessary to engage in this ESG activity for the purpose of maximizing investment returns. But the data that we've seen shows that if you've got an ESG-oriented product, it's not performing as well as a straight index fund." Mr. Skrmetti said the goals of his lawsuit are transparency and clarity. Quote, "There's nothing wrong with companies managing assets in a particular way as long as they're transparent about it," he said. "If BlackRock is going to be leveraging the assets under management to push every company in which it owns or in which it controls a stake in a given direction, investors need to know that, and the conflicting statements out there make it difficult for anybody to know how their assets are going to be managed." And again, these are not the assets that are actually owned by BlackRock. Those people are rich. They do have assets. The company by now, of course, has its own assets. They're talking about the $9 trillion of other people's money that they control because they happen to manage them. It's like having an accountant that helps you with your small business tax obligations and having that accountant change how your business is operated to suit their own political agenda. Of course that doesn't make sense, and of course that's not right. This lawsuit is based on investor protections under Tennessee law. However, other conservative states have also been critical of BlackRock. In August 2022, for example, 19 state attorneys general wrote a letter to BlackRock charging that it has used citizens' assets to pressure companies to comply with international agreements such as the Paris Climate Accord that force the phase out of fossil fuels, increase energy prices, drive inflation, and weaken the national security of the United States. Among other things, the letter highlighted BlackRock's membership in net zero organizations that pledge to reduce the use of oil, gas, and coal. BlackRock responded to this letter, stating that while BlackRock participates in a wide variety of organizations on topics of interest to our clients, we have made it clear that we do not coordinate our votes or investment decisions with external groups or organizations, and that BlackRock's belief that climate risk poses investment risk is backed by our publicly available research. They aren't going to be getting away with this kind of stuff that much longer. In May 2023, 17 state attorneys general filed a motion requesting that the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission investigate whether BlackRock is acting as an activist investor regarding its shareholding in public utility companies, which are aggressively retiring coal and gas plants. In December 2022, BlackRock's head of external affairs, Dahlia Blass, faced criticism during a hearing before the Texas State Senate for what some senators allege was political activism and its membership in anti-fossil fuel organizations like Climate Action 100 and the Net Zero Asset Managers Alliance. Ms. Blass told state senators that BlackRock's membership was for the purpose of gathering information. Quote, "We participate in Climate Action 100 to engage in dialogue with other participants, market participants, governments, so that we understand issues that are relevant to our clients," said Ms. Blass, who recently joined BlackRock from the Biden administration, where she worked at the Securities and Exchange Commission. Texas State Senator Brian Hughes, a Republican, responded that BlackRock's website doesn't say anything about engaging in dialogue in Climate Action 100. BlackRock's website actually says, "We have joined Climate Action 100 to help ensure the world's largest greenhouse gas emitters take necessary action on climate change." What we're learning is BlackRock says whatever it needs to say to whoever it's talking to at the time, Mr. Hughes said, growing increasingly frustrated. Can BlackRock send us a witness who can tell us whether that's a true or false statement on its website today? Ms. Blass responded, "Sir, if you pulled that off our website, then that is on our website." BlackRock has defended its policies and performance, stating that as a fiduciary, our only agenda is to maximize financial returns consistent with our clients' mandates. The money we manage is not our own, and we are always bound to invest consistent with our clients' choices, their best financial interests, and applicable law. In addition, BlackRock stated, "The company belongs to more than 300 organizations, and we do not make commitments or pledges to meet environmental or other standards that constrain our ability to invest our clients' money on their behalf consistent with their objectives." BlackRock is being painted into a corner. Tennessee is being aggressive. Hopefully, other states' attorneys general will go after BlackRock the same way, because with enough pushing and enough lawsuits, these guys are going to crack. And speaking of cracking, Harvard is starting to crack under the pressure. From Twitchy, poof, Harvard has disappeared their pronouns page. How far the Ivy League has fallen. Once the gold standard for higher education, prestigious institutions like Harvard have allowed woke nonsense to utterly ruin them. But now that they're under the spotlight, thanks to their president's morally bankrupt behavior at a recent congressional hearing, it appears they're starting to feel the heat. Here's a tweet from Paul Thacker. Harvard has dramatically modified its Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Office and disappeared their webpage for pronouns. Google pronouns at Harvard and the top hit redirect to, and he gives the page, and here's the archive page. And you can see the two differences. This is the current page. They even have people with different skin color on it. It's hard to believe. That's Harvard. What it used to be is this giant headline about gender identity and pronouns at Harvard. Gender this, pronoun that. Now they've had to pull back. Of course, just because they took the page away doesn't mean they've changed all their policies. As they say here, don't be fooled, it hasn't been eradicated from campus, just hidden. Chaya Raychick, also known as Libs of TikTok on Twitter, wrote this: Harvard deleted their webpage on pronouns. They're frantically removing dozens of pages from their site. And now Harvard is forced to dial things back. The reason I do these woke shutdown videos is to highlight when there's pushback on the woke agenda. The woke agenda is very aggressive, it's very pervasive, it is all over the place, but they are being forced to dial things back. They are starting to lose some ground, and they are getting painted into corners. I'm going to continue this series and continue to point out things that show that we are having wins against their anti-human agenda. The more wins we get, the more wins we're going to get. The more we push back, the more their agenda disappears. Let me know what you think of all this in the comments below. Always love to see your ideas. Please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications, give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you again soon with another video. And if I don't see you, I will miss you.